I've had the opportunity to meet with a lot of different customers, and I think the common pattern that I find is they see the existing infrastructure and the process as a hurdle for innovation, and they want to get out of the way of the innovators, right? They want to make it easy, and that's where they actually adopting a lot of cloud technology or cloud-based infrastructure, and let the folks who want to innovate, experiment, go out there in the cloud, in the confines of the guardrails that they put up, that you should not, take health information or something like that and take it to the cloud without specific controls in place. That's where I see a lot of folks actually focusing on is enabling that consumption of cloud-based infrastructure. Let them do their work quickly there, whatever experiments they want to do, and then maybe bringing it back DevOps style to the on-prem based systems to see how it would really work in their environment. That's commonly what I've seen.
Innovation needs to be quick, and not quick to implement, but quick to be able to see if I can experiment. There's nothing worse than to say I have this great idea, and I say, okay, great, okay, it's going to take 18 weeks to get the infrastructure in place for you because we don't have any extra capacity, so we got to order a server, got to order storage on-prem, right? So from a cloud perspective, to be able to, again, you have to have guardrails. You can't just let everybody go up and start burning instances, right? But if you have that capability, and with the whole cloud infrastructure now in place, there's all of these technologies that as people start reading things, and I think to your earlier point about connecting the dots from your business perspective, say, hey, these three technologies actually will work and solve a business problem for me, and I can actually do it relatively quickly because I can spin something up on the cloud. It really does help that speed. That speed helps motivate people to be able to get it done.
You can really create great sandboxes very fast in the cloud. And so it's like all of you probably are quite familiar with Azure. You got zones, and you set up a private zone, boom, boom, boom. They can self-procure, they're up and running. But then the problem becomes when you now want to take that great idea and bring it into the fold and integrate it with your core systems and actually launch it live to your real customers. Since at the beginning, they didn't take into account certain design principles and factors and considerations. You now take something that took 3 weeks or 5 weeks or 8 weeks to put up. It now needs a 2-year investment to bring it into the fold. So there is a balance that you have to also have, whereby sandboxes can't just be ad hoc. They still have to adhere to certain design principles as well as security and audit principles, because otherwise folding them back in becomes fundamentally a rewrite from scratch.
One of the outcomes of innovation, though, is that it highlights flaws that you have, right, in your existing processes, in your people, your data, your systems, your security, right? So the innovation, to me, like if it's successful, but it'll take a different approach to implement it. I think you don't lose sight of the prize, right? Because if that innovation adds value, and then you just become better anyway, right? So like, never let a good crisis go to waste, right?
Right.
You've got an innovation, but you need to tighten something up. Well, let's go, right? And I think that's one of the big benefits. And I think the people side is very important as well, because if you think of some of the machine learning innovation you'll do with a lot of data, you might not have the right people to interpret that data or to make decisions on what that's telling you at that point in time, right? Because they might just be process people. And we've seen a lot of that where you now need to embed a knowledge worker where you really just had a clerical administrative person, because now there's some decision to make, right? And so we can't be afraid of that part, right? So highlighting those flaws, I think, is a positive, and I think it's really part of our job to bring to light, how to become better overall.
Yeah, and IT should be open to changing those standards and
Absolutely.
encouraging innovation outside of IT, and ensuring that business problems can be solved without even the work of the people that are employed by me.
Well, and not just picking on IT. I used to run a security division, one of the sacred hallowed halls. I could bring whatever it is that you're doing to a halt probably faster than most people. But even they have to be called into question. If at the end of the day, this is part of the, everything has to be on the table and called into question, and even, the sacred security policies. If the security policy is preventing the organization from moving forward on the business, every once in a while you have to have a conversation of, well, let's have an open-minded review of this policy, and does it really make sense? And quite frankly, maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's a way to sandbox. Maybe there's a way, even the OSC has done it with regulations. Is there a way for us to sandbox and prove, statistically that there is another way to be actually safer? And so all of that has to be on the table. And I find quite often innovation comes up, hits the legal wall, the procurement process wall, which includes legal, includes security. And nobody goes back and says to the security leads, you're killing me.
Right.
Fix it. You are responsible for the fact that we haven't done these things.